Welcome to issue 251 of Critical Encounters, a podcast about Marvel Champions, a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. Here we take a good look at the most critical piece of the game, the encounter sets. We'll discuss those poorly understood characters, unfairly labeled villains, and their various plans to shape humanity and benefit the planet, as well as those so-called heroes intent on thwarting them. Was that better for you?
Better. That was better.
Way better. Way better.
Way better.
Okay,
Way
good.
better.
I'm one of your hosts, James, and joining me tonight, you've already heard both their voices, is a Steve.
Hi.
And a Mike.
Hey, James.
Hey, guys. So, happy New Year's Eve, wrapping up 2024.
Yay! Happy New Year!
There's much rejoicing. Yeah, Happy New Year's Eve, guys. Last week was Christmas Eve, and this is New Year's Eve. Both holidays. We are Daniel-less. I think I heard he was naughty, and Krampus came and took him. So we'll have to see if we can get him back or not. So,
Oof.
Well, you
Well,
know
I'll
how
tell you
he
what.
plays games. Oh, yeah, sure. I'll take a Silver Branch. We'll kick this can down the road a little bit.
I think that I was not naughty enough because I did manage to get my Con of Hero tickets. So whoop whoop.
ooh, all right.
Nice.
Nice. Being New Year's Eve, I know we didn't plan this at all. Do you guys have a Marvel Champions resolution for the new year?
Hopefully get my product.
You can't control that.
We've got a bit of a postal situation here.
Yeah, holy cow. Okay.
Yeah.
What, you still missing a lot? So,
A little bit, but there's a strike going on right now.
oh, there's a strike going on. Okay.
Yeah, so it's backlogged everything because people are still trying to get Christmas gifts to everybody.
Yeah, it's bad timing or good timing for the postal strikers, I guess. It shows the leverage they have. How about you, James? You got a New Year's resolution for Marvel Champions?
Yeah, just take it less seriously. It's just a game. I'm just going to play the game. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about winning or how well I win or lose. I'm just going to play the game.
That's good.
I'm not going to worry about my rules mistakes. So what? Who cares? I mean, people care, but I'm not going to care anymore. I'm done. I'm just going to enjoy playing the game.
That's good
Yeah,
because
good.
I was getting a little worried over this past week. You know, you've been here, you're waiting for the second podcast, and yeah, you threw a chair at the wall. You flipped more than one table. I was a little worried, man.
Those zero-cost cards got very expensive, and I was upset.
Well, not that anybody asked, but I have one as well.
Hey, Steve,
Yeah.
what's your Marvel Champions resolution?
There it is. Okay. I'm going to try to play some of those so-called heroes that I don't typically play. I want to kind of go back to the ones that I don't like as much and like give them another chance, which probably will mean the villain will win more. So win-win.
Nice.
I wish Daniel was here. 'Cause,
Yeah.
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 Miss him for the holidays. Yeah.
You know what I would ask him?
What would you ask him?
I would ask him what's on his mind, but he's not here, so looks like I gotta ask Steve.
Oh,
Hey, Steve, what's on your mind?
well, 251 issues.
Yep.
Wow. Yep. We had 250 shows, and we didn't even talk about it last week. Just completely ignored it. And that's because the show is weekly, and there are 52 weeks in a year. So after 5 years and missing only 2 weeks, thank you, Mustafa, our anniversary show is technically 258. However, our first show, which technically is labeled issue 0, aired on January 29th, 2020. Issue 1 aired on February 4th, 2020. And that was right before our failed global takeover that we had planned. We were going to have all these big rallies and these gatherings, these huge events with thousands of minions. But like for some reason, a few months later, no one wanted to even go outside, which was kind of weird. Yeah, so that fizzled. Anyhow, so our anniversary show this year is, yep, you guessed it, issue number 254. Yeah, because that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's 4 shows early, but it's also only 1 week early. 255 would actually be on the January 29th, 2024 this year, and be perfect. But we're villains. We don't like perfect. We need to keep those heroes guessing. Plus, we're about to finish the wave, which makes starting a new wave and a new volume at the same time. Very tantalizing for my, looking at things. So stay tuned for our issue 254 5-year anniversary show, which promises to disappoint.
Nice.
Cool.
I remember, I know that a number of people have said this, and I think it is a testament to the, just how long this has been going on now. I feel like I jumped in somewhere in the mid 100s, and I remember I listened to everything in the space of a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
And
that explains why
been
he's
other
so
people.
crazy.
Yeah. There have been other people since that have done the same in the same timeline. So they are crazier, but it's because it's just so good. It's some mighty fine listening.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, we'll put the collar away.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll even put the safety back on the big red button.
You could just have the
And-
pouches and do what you will with them.
Can I sit in Daniel's chair instead of on the floor?
Absolutely.
Yeah, today
Well,
for
thanks,
sure.
guys.
All yours. I mean, he's not here. So.
You can have that chair till next year.
That's fairly
What is this
generous of you, Mike.
loincloth? This is like a... Why has he got so many loincloths hanging around in here?
He's got
Okay,
a
all right.
thing with... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't ask. Yeah.
All right. So...
Don't ask, don't touch. Don't smell.
Don't ask, don't smell. So Steve.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah. So after my quote unquote lore last week, we got another week to go, hey?
We do.
I hope you've got something for us.
I do. I have some lore. I have some lore about not Stryfe. So if you want Stryfe lore, listen to last week's poem and then go back to issue.
Activate the Omega 13!
Go back and listen to issue 223, our Shadows of the Past Cable Nemesis with Lexicon, where we talk all about Stryfe. So 233. It was still volume 5, Mike. It was still volume 5.
Okay. All right.
In June. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about Stryfe because there's one more character in the Stryfe set that we haven't talked about. There's a unique minion that comes in his set. We haven't had a unique minion or any minions come in any set with the villain since Magneto, and then previous to that was like Master Mold and Sentinels, like where they come in the villain scenario. They've all been separate modular sets, suggested or required modular sets, but that we haven't had any minions specifically in a villain set in a while. So, and those were just Sentinels. So those were boring too. So tonight I want to talk about the unique minion that comes with Stryfe named Zero.
He's not a hero. He's a zero.
He's a zero. Yeah. Well, you decide, okay? So Zero is a walking, talking, and occasionally exploding android with a complicated backstory created by Louise Simonson and Rob Liefeld in The New Mutants number 86 in 1990. Spoiler alert, it gets a little weird. Okay? Zero was built 2,000 years in the future by the Ascani as a prototype for the super exciting ambient energy dampening automated peacekeeping mechanisms, otherwise known as atoms, because nothing says peace like a robot that can vaporize you without warning. Unfortunately, Zero took a wrong turn, got damaged, and was found by Stryfe, a mutant tyrant with a flair for drama. Stryfe reactivated Zero, which in layman terms meant he turned Zero into a mute obedient tool. Take note, James. Zero was basically a giant metallic servant with a personality as lively as a toaster, but hey, it worked for Stryfe. After Stryfe's future army was defeated, who could have seen that coming, the duo decided to time travel to the late 20th century because, of course, that's what you do when you're on the run. No one expects a robot from the future in the 1990s. Zero is involved in some major story arcs, so I want to talk about a couple of these story arcs where Zero can be found. So, the Mutant Liberation Front. So, Stryfe, being the overdramatic villain that he is, forms the Mutant Liberation Front, which we have talked about, a team of superpowered mutants who terrorized Cable and his new mutants. Zero, ever the reliable sidekick, was deactivated during the Executioner song, probably because even robots need a break from bad 90s storylines. He gets reactivated a little later by Tolliver, an arms dealer who, shocker, turned out to be the alias of Tyler Dayspring, Cable's son.
What?
Yeah. In a twist of fate, Zero was now able to speak, lucky us, and follow his original peacekeeping program. So what did he do? He starts eliminating people, of course.
Best way to keep the peace.
Yep.
I mean, that's a true Tony Stark kind of peacekeeping piece of kit. It's the same story all over again.
All right, but our merc with the mouth Deadpool, ever the charming mercenary, convinced Zero to spare him by Deadpool saving Copycat's life. Yes, because that totally makes sense for a robot program to maintain peace. Unless it's Deadpool, in which case logic takes a back seat. Okay.
Meta knowledge.
Yeah.
All right. So Zero then decided he wasn't just going to be a killing machine anymore. He wanted to be alive. He goes on a quest for sentience, which leads him to Douglock, a techno-organic being, because nothing says existential crisis like bonding with a robot that has an identity crisis of its own.
I'm sorry, did you say Douglock?
Douglock.
Douglock, not Deathlock. Douglock.
Douglock. Yep.
Douglock.
Douglock.
All right.
However, okay. Stay with me. However, Zero's newfound sentience came with a price. He was hunted by killer androids programmed by Stryfe. Who else? And after a battle with Strife's secret androids below the Pentagon, don't ask. Don't ask.
Okay.
Zero realized he wasn't truly alive. He was just programmed to think that he was alive. Then, in a stunning act of self-awareness, he sacrificed himself to protect Excalibur, Douglock, and a few innocent bystanders from a self-destruct sequence in the layer under the Pentagon, blah, 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 blah. But of course, because Stryfe is a master of cruelty, Zero died with a message. Congratulations. You are human for the next 8 seconds. Talk about a mic drop from Stryfe.
Oh,
You know what he needed there? He needed Tyler and his finger on the button, because he could just relive those 8 seconds with one to spare over and over again.
Overnight, yeah, would have worked. Fear not, for in his final moments, Zero transferred all of his memories to Douglock. Because, again, nothing says, I'm really alive now, by putting all of your consciousness into someone else's brain. Classic move.
So is Douglock now like a split personality kind of guy?
Well, hang on. Yeah, okay. So don't worry, though. Don't worry. Zero isn't gone for long. He or another version of Zero, because Zero's like an android, so it could have been a different Zero. Who knows? But he comes back. He joins forces with Stryfe again, and he tried to cause some chaos. But in a poetic twist, he was destroyed again because apparently robots never get the happy ending they deserve. Okay. Zero's powers are teleportation. He can open gateway to other places. Not bad for a robot who pretty much just wants to be left alone at a certain point. I believe we talked about some gateway mistakes in one of our MLF episodes. So Zero can close and open his portals, and if you happen to be caught between when he's closing them, you might lose a limb or two. Ask Reaper about that.
Oh, yeah.
So Zero started as a silent, obedient drone with the emotional range of a garden hose. But after a few encounters with people who definitely should not be his role models, I'm looking at you, Deadpool.
Ugh.
He started to think like he had a real shot at life. And spoiler, which isn't a spoiler because I already talked about it, he didn't. But still, he tried. He really, really tried. In conclusion, Zero's life was a tragic roller coaster of self-discovery, betrayal, and explosive self-sacrifice. But hey, at least Douglock got all his memories out of it. It's not like Zero's existence was completely pointless, right?
What a zero. Oh, boy. Aw.
I feel bad that I'm sat here because I feel like, Daniel or Moose would have so much to say
Oh, totally.
about existence, meaning, what it is, but I've got nothing because I definitely align more with the obedient drone with the emotional range of a garden hose. So,
Okay, that's fine.
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah, all I got is robots need love too.
Yeah. Now, some people may know Douglock by a different name, Warlock.
Really?
Yes, who we do have a card for. Mm-hmm.
Is that why he's all crazy?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Douglock is Warlock.
Yeah. And at some point he changes his name or something happens. That was a rabbit hole I did not go into because I was concerned about Zero and his feelings.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, I gotta look that up.
So it's kind of like he assimilated it into himself. Okay. All right.
Should we look at the cards now?
Let's do it.
Okay, again, fifth scenario in the next evolution box requires Hope Summers. They suggest the MLF, the Extreme Measures, and Mutant Insurrection, 21 total cards. Tonight we'll look at 15, 11 by title, and I think I should start with Zero.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay. Zero is a unique minion, which is interesting because he's not really unique because he's an android who is built. Anyways, I guess this is one specific Zero. With a 1 scheme, 1 attack, 4 health, the Mutant Liberation Front trait, he has Guard, Patrol, and Toughness. When defeated, if the player who defeated Zero does not have at least 3 cards of the same type in their hand, shuffle Zero into the encounter deck, 1 boost icon.
That is awesome. Okay, so immediately the first thing I'm thinking of is, one of my favorite minions, which is the other portal shaper, the Spot,
100%.
who also has 1 scheme, 1 attack, 4 hit points, and gets shuffled back in the deck.
Yeah.
I love it.
They have a teleport theme going on where if you don't defeat them in a specific way, they teleport away.
It's so good.
I was going to say, for the AI theme, he has Guard, Patrol, and Toughness.
Yeah.
GPT.
Oh my. I didn't even get that at first.
Oh, wow, me either. Nice. Interesting. Okay.
Do the designers know that?
I mean, typically they put them in alphabetical order, and this is alphabetical order, so they didn't shuffle them up. If they were not in order, I would definitely think they did it on purpose. They must know. I'm gonna have to ask.
Yeah, I mean, after all that stuff they did in the Deadpool pack, I could totally see them doing something weird like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna find out, and if I find out anything, hold on, I will teleport away and come back with the news.
All right.
So I called up FFG and I spoke to them, and this is exactly what they told me. Okay, now you know. Okay, so that's what I found out. So interesting.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to...
We don't.
Yeah.
Old us don't know what's going on, but okay. Yeah. Now you must have at least 3 cards of the same type in your hand, or it gets shuffled back in. So if you do have 3 cards of the same type, Stryfe's attack is a 3, the threat goes up by 3, maybe his retaliate is a 3. There's like some interesting implications of that. So.
Yeah. And interesting implications to the patrol keyword, because that can be really problematic in the first stage.
Yeah. Guard too, because you could be trying to attack Stryfe in order to go after Strife's grasp that way. Yeah. Here's your guard. So
yeah.
I mean, I love that it does just add to that self-reference. It's another moment when, again, I suspect I just completely played it wrong, but you just have to really look, and you don't have to think, because that's my resolution. You can just play the game. But if you'd like to, you can really look and think, when do I want to do this? It's just sequency choices. And I like playing SPDR. She's one of my favorite characters, so I love this kind of thing. It's just a nice way to have the encounter set, forcing me to make some more choices.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
Do I really want to ping that final damage this turn for the sake of 1 ping on me? No, I'm going to wait to see if I can push my luck the next turn, and then I'll get rid of him. Yeah. Sorry, no, I won't. I'll defeat him and shuffle him back in. I'll get out of the chair. I'm going to go back to the floor. This isn't a good feel for me.
Okay. Well, maybe we should do talk about some more of these cards, and we can start with the first one. Like, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do this to James. Why don't you read the first one?
This would be funny. Wouldn't it be a great prank if we did some cerebral erasure on him?
Yeah.
This is a side scheme. It has 2 boost icons. It says, when revealed, Return an upgrade or support you control to its owner's hand. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme returns an upgrade or support they control to its owner's hand. It has an acceleration icon, and it has 2 threat per player. That's that's interesting. Obviously, the putting it in your hand makes Stryfe worse. You want to get rid of it because that acceleration icon is particularly bad.
It's such a good feel bad. Oh, haven't we had the some of the I don't know what Fancy Flight will have put out by this point, but I'm thinking about someone that was revealed somewhat recently, and I don't want to have to pay one extra and have to get things back out on the board again.
Right. Yeah.
With the 1 extra. Yeah.
Yeah.
The cost increase.
Just bouncing anything. I mean, when you get a caught off guard, you're like, oh, I got to get rid of this thing that I just paid 3 for or whatever. It gets you coming and going. It shows up and you have to bounce a card to your hand. I mean, it goes to your hand instead of discarded. Then you clear it and you got to do it again, right?
Yeah.
So
it goes to its owner's hand, so you could send it to somebody if you want them to pay the cost again, but they probably won't play it on you because you gifted their gift back to them.
Yeah.
And there's no way you're playing it back down until you've defeated it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you're not... You're obviously going to... Well, I mean, again, New Year's resolution, just play the flipping game. Oh, boo-hoo, I shouldn't have played that thing. What a waste of my turn. Moving on.
Yeah, definitely what you should do is bounce that card to your hand, play it, then clear the side scheme, bounce it to your hand again, then play it again. That sounds like I like that. That's a good tactic.
When you've already on that second stage and everything costs 1 more.
Yeah, everything costs 4. You got to get those cards out of your hand, right? So
You got to spend them down somehow.
All right, James, why don't you read the next one?
All right. For this next one, we have Telepathic Camouflage. It is a side scheme. It has 3 boost icons. It has 2. Just 2. 2. Nothing else. Just 2.
You mean per player?
2 threat. No.
2 per player? Oh, just 2. Okay. 2.
It's just got 2. And here's the one revealed. Each player places X threat here. There it is. Where X is the number of cards of the most common type in their hand. And it is a hazard icon. So it is a hinder per player, but the per player hinder is, once again, however many each player has of the most common type in their hand.
Yeah, so 2 to 3 per player, probably 3.
Mm-hmm. And on those rare occasions, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 3 boost icon with a threat threshold of 8 naturally. I mean, when you're playing solo, the second stage is that. The first one is 9. But either way, 3 and a 9 with triple boosts, that's dangerous territory, friendo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in multiplayer, this is brutal. I've had this stay out way longer than it ought to have. That extra card can be super punishing in this one.
Hey, you got extra cards, he gets extra cards. More game. More game, more fun.
All right, let's look at some of his attachments next. As a refresher, his level 2 says, when revealed, each player discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a psionic attachment is discarded and reveals that card. So guess what? These attachments are mostly psionic. Not a big surprise. So here's the first one. Mental Transferal is a condition, psionic, if Stryfe's Grasp is in play, attached to Hope Summers, otherwise attached to your identity. Forced response. After Stryfe takes any amount of damage, attached character takes an equal amount of damage. Discard this card. 2 boost icons. I have had this just stall my game out because I was still on Stryfe's Grasp. I hadn't cleared it. This goes on Hope, who has 3 hit points, and you're trying to hit for 1 or 2 only, but I don't have those in my hand. I've got somebody that's got a 2 or 3 attack, or she's already taken a point of damage for some reason. Man, this can really mess up your game. I love this card for Stryfe.
Yeah, no, it's great. It is just great. It's also a lovely grief card. Hey, Steve, the only attack I have is a swinging web kick. Hope you brought healing. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Oops. You just hit me for 6, 8, 12, whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bishop unloaded on you, or Cable with 12 side schemes. You're like, oh, I can't actually do anything, or I'll kill someone. So you have to do some sequencing there. It's fun.
Yeah. Now that there is a little cheaty trick here. It's not after he takes damage from an attack. It's when he takes any amount of
Mhm.
damage. And a lot of those non-attack damage sources just deal 1.
Okay. Yep. Retaliate.
Yeah, retaliate. Yeah.
But I mean, if you're popping the damage onto Hope, that knocks her down, that puts her in a dangerous position. So we'll see if that can affect you with this. So yeah, I think it's timing wise can really be important. So
Yeah, and I do want to point out that in the final stage of Stryfe, if you're playing Expert, he has a retaliate already of plus X. So potentially up to +4 retaliate. So you might attack him, take damage, and get that response. Because you don't you don't switch targets. It's after he takes the damage. So yeah, you can get hit like 3 times from this attack.
hey, I have a weird feeling that a wild Daniel may have shown up in the lair. Hi, Daniel.
Wahaha!
Hey Daniel,
What's up, fellas?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Oh God, Steve, I'm so mad at you.
Hey, you're the one who's not here. What do you want me to do about it?
Well, how was I supposed to know we were recording New Year's Eve tonight?
I didn't
Unless
even know we
you-
were recording New Year's Eve tonight. So
My goodness. Is James there?
I'm here. I'm here, and
Oh.
I'm not sat in your chair.
you just got out of your chair. It's like you knew he was coming.
Yeah. Get up, son. All right. Wow. Happy New Year's, everyone.
Oh, sounds like you're out having fun.
Do you have a New Year's resolution for Marvel Champions, Daniel?
Yeah, Steve, I think it makes professional sense if I play more solo than I do.
I agree. That's a good one.
Because I would love to play more multiplayer than I do, but I'll get that on every once in a while. But the solo thing, it's really hard for me to get into it. But I think I need to know more about that world. So that's me. That's my resolution.
That's an excellent resolution.
Yeah.
You could also go over to James's house more and play cards with him.
You know, he doesn't host.
Oh.
He doesn't host.
I do host. I just don't host Daniel.
Wow.
Oh, well, that's probably what it is.
Wow. Okay.
No, yeah.
No, we're fortunate to have other people that kindly open their homes.
Yeah, and we should do that more, James, for sure.
We should just go into DC. You know what I did here, Daniel? Is
What's that?
underneath the Pentagon, it sounds like there's some like blown out space. We could probably just sneak down there and do it.
Oh, I think that's probably true. Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Do it. Yeah. No, but James, let's make a point of getting together at least quarterly.
Sounds good.
I feel like that's a doable goal.
We can find places in DC to go and play as well. I know plenty of places that are happy for us to go and sit at a table, play with either a beer or a cocktail in hand, and do not mind us setting up and doing it in public. In places that nerds have no place to be in.
Right. No, that's true. And if you guys are willing to travel to Northeast, I'm available as well to host. So, as you know.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Well, Steve, what was your resolution?
I forget.
Okay.
It was really good.
It
Go
was
back and listen to the show.
It was to give some of those heroes those lesser loved heroes more of a chance so that I can see the villain win more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Something
Love
about
it.
licking heroes. It was disgusting.
Licking them?
No, letting heroes get their licks.
Oh, right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I know that when I jumped in, Mike was talking about maybe a card. I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh yeah, we were just about to move on to the next card actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Do it.
think
It's you, Mike.
Is
Go
mine-
for it,
okay.
Mike.
Oh my gosh. This is mind alteration. Attached to your identity. Forced response. After you play an event or upgrade, take 1 damage. Response. After you recover, spend a mental resource to discard this card. And it has 2 boost icons. Yup.
Yeah.
Mm.
It seems innocuous, like, okay, point of damage, whatever, but like you play a lot of events and upgrades during the game.
Yes, I
And-
do.
And to get rid of it, you have to both recover and spend a mental resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the recover one is a killer. I mean, it's bad enough having to exhaust. It's bad enough having to flip to alter ego, but doing all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
I mean,
Well, I don't
you
know. There are times you should be recovering and you don't because of all the other things you think you have to do. So maybe it's nice to remind you to put a Band-Aid on and eat some soup.
things Daniel will not say when he fulfills his resolution and starts playing solo.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You'll be a friendless hero-only player too.
Probably.
When Daniel says eat some soup, he's talking about using Aunt May. That's not recovering. She doesn't count. You have to turn your card sideways and actually recover.
No, but she's my generic idea of recovery.
Yes.
When I exhaust to get my 3 hit points back, I think of Aunt May.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And that bowl of soup.
I've never really thought about that. It's interesting how with recover, it's a basic recovery, right? Because we have after you attack or after you basic attack, but recover is always just after you recover. It's not, you can't do this by, playing down that first aid or something. It's
first aid doesn't have the recover trait.
Yeah, it's
like
not a
attack.
yeah,
and
it's not a
defense and thwart.
keyword-y. Correct. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's some design space for you, FFG. We just came up with it. The recover keyword.
The recover keyword, yeah.
The recover trait, yeah.
Isn't there one more card that almost feels like it could get through this, but it doesn't? It's that one where you heal damage equal to your recovery.
Oh yeah, it's recuperation.
Something there you go, recuperation.
Yeah,
it's
we
recuperation.
clearly play this card all the time.
I only
Yeah,
ever play
right.
with She-Hulk,
Everyone should have
the
3 of
hero
them
that
in their
gets
deck.
played all the time.
Yeah, because this doesn't even count. It just says alter ego action heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery. So
See, that could be a recover traded card or something. But
yeah.
Okay.
Mind trap, condition, psionic, attachment. Attach to your identity, your allies, upgrades, and supports. Enter play. Exhausted. Alter ego action. Exhaust 3 cards you control. Discard this card. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I'm playing Psylocke or I'm SPDR, sure. But if I'm not, and I don't have anything to tap, ugh.
Yeah, but those characters do not want to tap those cards for this. That's all they got.
Yep.
Oh, you just have to have a good board state or a bunch of things that you don't mind
You don't
exhausting.
care.
Like the
Right.
Triskelion.
Yep. Or you might end
Yeah.
up burning up upgrades that you've attached to X-Men allies, right? The training upgrades. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if those exhaust. So your allies'
Right,
upgrades
you're
and
quite
supports,
right.
they enter play exhausted, but they do ready at the end of your turn. So they're like, you can still use them, right? I mean, they come out, they enter play exhausted. It doesn't say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Those training ones are still giving you +1 attack and a hit point and all that, right? I mean,
Well, once you ready them, they don't stay exhausted. They don't. You just sort of lose out on their initial. They're like Ents from Lord of the Rings. They come out exhausted, and you got to wait around for them to wake up.
Oh, I get it. Don't be hasty.
Exactly.
Don't be so hasty.
It's
with your
everyone's
stuff.
favorite thing to do is play things that don't change the board state right now, but
Yeah.
do things later.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite thing to do every turn.
I say just leave this one out. So don't even bother. Who cares if the hero stuff comes out exhausted?
Yep, no kidding.
Nice.
All right. So here's another fun thing we could do to James, the psionic amnesia.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
It says attach to your identity, increase the resource cost of each ally and support you play by 2. And yes, that does stack with
Yep,
Strife's
yep.
ability. Response after you play an ally or support, exhaust your identity to discard this card. And it has 2 boost icons.
I don't follow. You said this is something else you could do to me. What did you do to me before?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Sorry, I misspoke. I was talking about another James.
Long time ago. Long time ago.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. This can be devastating or completely whiff.
Yeah. Okay, so the cost goes up. If you have Mind Trap out, you pay the 3 extra because of the Stryfe level 2 or whatever, the main scheme level 2, and they enter exhausted, and you take a point of damage maybe. So
Yeah.
I guess those are upgrades. But the response, I think this is the easiest one to get rid of, right? You just when you play something, you exhaust to get rid of it. You don't have to flip the
Yeah.
alter ego, right? It's not the worst. So
But you have to overpay
already
to
getting-
do it. Like by a
Yeah, you-
lot. It's all
Yes.
you're doing.
Right. And you're already paying one more for each thing as it is.
Yep.
You do have 2 extra cards, but you're still paying one more for this, if you're on that second stage.
Yeah, this one has never. It bothered me when I was playing X23, because Honey Badger, I needed to play a couple times.
Mhm.
But apart from that, I don't play decks that are big in the supports. And even if I do, this has to come out before I've had a chance to put the important ones down. So I find that kind of sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't when you're in solo play.
At least when you were playing X23, you could easily exhaust. I mean, if you weren't able to exhaust that part of the cost, then you were playing it wrong, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think that's why it's both allies and supports, right? So-
Sorry, it was more the cost to put out Honey Badger was
Yeah.
it meant I could not ignore this attachment.
All right, let's move on to our final condition and psionic attachment. All of these have been condition and psionic attachments. They've all had 2 boost icons up until now. This is psychic inertia, and there are 2 of them attached to your
That's the story of my life.
Attached to your identity. It gives you -1 thwart, -1 attack. With the hero action, if your hero attacked and thwarted this phase, discard this card. It is as if something is holding Caliban back. Caliban.
Thanks, Caliban.
Um,
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
rough card. You have to
So
have the ability to do both, and not everyone does. You may be exhausted, so you have to have the cards to do both those in this turn. Yeah,
And then
I've
pay extra
typically
for and
found
be able to
this.
pay extra for them, right?
possibly.
yes, you
Yeah.
do.
This is one of those cards that I've only ever had this whiff on me, where I've been like, oh, well, this was my plan anyway, unfortunately. It's like, oh, great, I know what I'm going to do next turn. Here goes my encounter card, boom. Oh, okay, well, I wasn't going to basic for either of these, so great, perfect. I can do this, and I can still tap. This
Nice.
has been my whiff card.
Now, if the thwart or the attack drops you to a 0, can you still use a basic action to do it? Because it makes no changes.
I think
Yes,
you
because it's
can.
not like
You
a
can.
null, right? It's not a.
I think it does affect the game state, though.
Yeah, we've moved away from that, haven't we? Just to valid targets. Are we just now onto valid targets for it?
Okay.
As long as you have a zero, you go, hey, here's the new design space. What about you have to tap and it gives you -3, and you actually put threat on? There's some more design
Ooh.
space for you. I want to have -4 thwart, which means you actually put on threat.
Yikes.
Moving on. Sorry.
Yeah, great card. I mean, Captain America absolutely laughs at this, but
Yeah,
some
anyone
characters
can
have
ready
trouble.
up. Quicksilver,
X23, Quicksilver.
Penny Parker,
yeah.
Now you have to remember too. However, are a few. There's only a few cards that he comes with that stun or confuse you. That's where he's a little weak. So like, you probably aren't stunned and confused. There's like one ally from one of the modular sets. None of his counter cards that come with Stryfe himself stun or confuse you. So you do have the option, like it's not as difficult unless you swap in modular sets that do stun and confuse you, where that now you have to clear that first and then
It's really interesting to me that it's a hero action where the before the arrow is just if you did these things, that it's not like a response or an interrupt or something. It's interesting that it's still a hero action. Like you still have, for all this psychic inertia, you still have a choice. So you don't have to. You can. You don't have to make that action. You can just leave this on. I mean, come on. What are we doing?
yeah.
Love it. Love the way you think.
All right, Daniel, give us the next one.
Would love to, but
I hear you
private.
turning in the car.
I know. Like, that's why I hear the turn signal.
You hear the
All right,
hold on.
Steve. What's the next one?
1 second.
This is the worst.
No, he's not going to do it. Somebody else do it. Mike, you're up.
It's your turn.
I just did psychic inertia.
That's
true, he
James'
did.
turn. I just did psionic amnesia.
Okay, come on, guys. I'll do Psionic Surge. It is a treachery. It is psionic. And this is no longer one of those conditioning attachments going on. It is when revealed, discard the top X cards of the encounter deck, where X is the number of cards. Wait for it. Of the most common type in your hand. Deal each psionic card, discarded this way, to yourself as a face-down encounter card.
Haha. All those crappy cards we just read. You get them
So
all.
it's the first one that's not an attachment, but guess what? It's helping you get those attachments.
Oh, that is so rough.
There are 11 psionic cards just in Stryfe set alone,
Yeah.
not counting a few of the minions in the modular sets that you have to play with.
Yeah, and that's what really nerfs this a little bit. I mean, the standard set alone dilutes the deck quite a bit, but yeah, that's
Right.
whew,
Yeah.
that could be disastrous.
You could hit 0, and you
Yeah.
could hit 4. I mean, you're having a really bad day if you hit 4. But
It's a two-stage thing, right? First, you see how many you've got in your hand. You might only have 2. You
Right.
might only have you might have doubles of everything. In which case, you're like, great, I'm gonna get nothing, and get both 2, and the other way around as well.
right, yeah, you could have 4 of the most common in your hand, and you discard 4 cards
Yeah.
and hit 0 psionic cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the gamble. It's like, okay, maybe it does something, maybe it doesn't.
Activate the Omega 13!
All right, Mike, next card.
Well, you know what I just realized? I just realized there's a card on here that there's 3 copies of. So I would love to tell you about that card.
Sure, okay, go ahead.
Hold on, Mike. Hold on. I got to disconnect for a second. I'm turning the car off, and then I got to come back in.
And that's why this is the best card in the game.
Wow, that was
Wow,
awesome, Mike.
Such a good card.
So good.
Amazing. So good.
Hey, Daniel.
That's life affirming. Doesn't have
Were
audio
you guys
yet.
there?
no.
Do it
That
again.
was a life
And
affirming card, Mike. It was so
that,
good.
yeah, that the best card in the game by far.
Thank you for reading it so
I knew you would do
poetically,
that to
too.
me. I
Okay.
knew it.
This is Telekinetic Wave. It is a treachery, psionic traded. When revealed, return an upgrade or support you control to your hand. Stryfe activates against you.
Oh, yes.
It has a boost icon and the special boost. If you have at least 3 cards in your hand that share a type, place 3 threat on the main scheme. Oh, there's lots to talk about.
Yes, there is.
Okay. Return an upgrade or support you control to your... It says your hand, not its owner's hand. Your hand.
Oh, good point.
So you could end up with
Ooh.
someone else's card in your hand. But it doesn't matter. That's what they want, because they want to boost your hand size, because Strife's activating against you right now.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Great way to steal someone's card.
Yeah. Okay, so you've just pulled an upgraded support, which later on you have to play for increased costs. You've powered up Stryfe. He's activated against you, so he's attacking or scheming. But then there's this boost effect, Mike. This boost
Yeah.
effect.
Like, just... Okay, he's attacking you. Fine. It sucks, because he's attacking you for +3 already. If you have at least +3, if you had that much in your hand. With this boost is a +4. And he's basically scheming at the same time.
Or he's scheming, and then
Really
this
scheming.
is this is like a 4 boost icon when he's Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Insane.
Strife doesn't scheme for that much. He just maxes out at 2.
Yeah.
And with 3 of them, yeah, you gotta really worry about that.
Yeah.
And having the 3 cards of the same type isn't going to be that hard.
No, it happens actually quite a bit.
It
for me.
happens. It happens.
I have a
yes.
lot of events in some of my decks. That seems to be the most common type for me. Because you want to play your upgrades and keep them in play.
Right. Yeah, you're putting your allies, your upgrades, your supports out, so you're left with resource cards and events in your hand. So late game, unless he
It
keeps
is
pushing
great.
them all back into your hand.
Yeah.
There is this theme, of course, of like all of these upgrades and supports just, being moved around everywhere. So then you think, well, you know what? stuff that I'm just going to play with the allies, I'm going to play with the events instead. Well, you're just going to make everything else much more rough as well. It's like every time you think that you've got a new deck build for it, you realize, oh no, that messes with a different part of this scenario.
Yeah. Now, there is a cheaty move you can pull.
Oh.
You can pull back something that has almost run out of charges.
That's
And
disgusting.
then replay it at full. I know. And shame on you if you do that.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, Mike. Wow.
Yeah. So
You know,
moving
I
on.
think we...
Yeah. Do not play
Yeah, I
replay
think
your guns.
I think we need
flannel.
something to override that. Maybe Daniel has it.
Good idea.
So are you guys asking me to tell you a little bit about Psychic Override?
I am.
Yeah. Both of the cards. There's two of them.
Both. There's two of these? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's okay, Daniel, because they're both exactly the same.
Psychic Override is a treachery. It's psionic traded. When revealed, choose a card type. Then discard each card from your hand that is not of that type. Draw up to your hand size. Place one threat on the main scheme for each card of the chosen type in your hand. Then it has one boost icon and a special boost. And that's discard a card from your hand, then draw a card.
Oh, there's a Sophie's Choice, hey?
Holy cow, yeah. Yeah.
Well, now having seen Sophie's Choice, I'm not sure it's that big, but
Oh, okay.
It is a choice, though.
It
is a choice. Yeah, absolutely.
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're either discarding a whole bunch of cards from your hand, or you're keeping as most cards in your hand, but you're getting all that threat.
We're all going to go to our discard pile and count every single card and count what's in our hand. And we all obviously know exactly how many of each type we have in our deck. So we'll just do some math and play the odds, right? That's
No, that was your resolution. You're not allowed to do that anymore, remember? You just pick the cards in your hand that you want to keep. You toss the rest and hope for the best. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this
sounds so good.
This
Right?
is tough.
Okay, the boost effect is interesting. Discard one card from your hand, then draw one card. Because there's nothing in here that punishes you for discard.
For drawing.
Or drawing.
Or for drawing, right?
Like, it's for having a certain number of cards in your hand, which doesn't change from this
What
boost
it does
effect.
is, right, it'll tweak the attack as it happens, because the boost effect happens before you finish calculating, right?
Oh,
So
I see.
You only have 3 events in your hand and 2 supports, so you're going to discard an event, so now you're at 2 and 2, and then you draw a card back, and it happens to be a resource, so his attack just went down. Or the reverse could happen, his attack would go up.
Is that...
Yeah, that's not what you're going to do, though,
Is that
it?
true? It gets calculated on the fly? Oh, God.
Right.
I just reread Stryfe's box. You know what it says? It says, while Stryfe is attacking you. Sorry, I'm mixing this up with other games where sometimes when someone attacks, it's calculated at the beginning. So I assume this was a when. It's a while, which means
the whole time. Yep.
Wow.
Whatever rule Steve makes up is correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
The boost, when you think about it, you flip the boost alters the attack stat or the scheme stat, even just by adding the boost icon. So you figure this out first. That'll tweak his hand. That'll tweak your hand, which impacts his attack stat. So that's why the boost does what it does.
Okay, and it's a subtle effect the more I think about it. Like, you're going to discard a card that you have the most of, hoping that the new card you draw won't boost one of your other sets or, another event. Okay, yeah, that's kind of cool.
I kind of wish the boost was discard a random card from your hand.
Yeah.
Just to make it that much more chaotic.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun card. I love do I keep, like, the when revealed, do I keep all the cards? Do I keep the not card? What do I pitch? What do I yeah, it's fun. Where are you at? The threat? How much can I afford to add to the main scheme?
Yeah.
Are the crises still in play? Like, All right, that's Stryfe. We have done Stryfe last week. We have done all his cards today. We've talked about the various Mutant Liberation Front allies and side schemes in previous shows. Hope Summers. We have finished all of the villains and the modulars. What do we think overall as a number 5 villain for the next evolution box? This is the next evolution. We started with Morlocks and Marauders, and now we're talking about Stryfe and Mills.
I feel that was like 5 years ago.
It was a year ago.
Yeah. I
I
yeah, go ahead, James.
I will say that I feel, this is how I feel about the whole of this wave. I just love all of the different design kind of directions that we went into. I loved the fact that we got to have Marauders monthly. Like I just having this at the end makes so much sense to me. It's like it's just doing something so completely different. It's not quite, the new year yet, but I'm still going to go down that same road of saying like it's just. I think it just provides a fun, different kind of thing. It's like I like that I get to see a bit more of my deck, but it comes at some, severe consequences as well. It's just I have to think a bit more about what I'm doing and sequencing. But I think it's just a really fun, different place to be. So when you're looking for a different kind of matchup, that's a bit more out there, this is here and you can always go pick it up.
Yeah. When I first played Stryfe, he fell a little flat, and it's because the deck I was playing, it was just a really easy game. And I talked earlier, was it last week or was it just earlier?
Say previous.
I talked previously that Stryfe. Thanks, guys. I mentioned previously how I felt Stryfe was harder in multiplayer than solo. And so after playing him in multiplayer, I mean, I really gained an appreciation for how he was designed and, what he can do to you. And I like him as a number 5 villain now. It's hard, right? Because number 4 was sinister, and it's like putting Thanos, midway through the box. But yeah, I think they did a really good job with Stryfe.
Yeah, I agree. I like Stryfe. I think he's a good 5th villain. I don't think Sinister being 4 was as like impactful as Thanos being 3. The story makes sense. I wasn't like super disappointed that it wasn't Thanos, or wasn't Sinister. I find it can be a little brain burny or a little finicky. Like you're always tracking and, oh shoot, I didn't pay the extra cost. Like you have to. I find I have to slow down a little on this one to make sure I'm not missing all the triggers and the different upgrades. Interplay exhausted, and I have 3 attachments on me, and what are all the constant effects in play, which makes Stryfe a fun 5th villain because there are all these different environmental effects, but it can also be a little fiddly. I think maybe fiddly is not the right word, but hopefully
Maybe
you understand what I'm saying.
Don't introduce a new player to this scenario right off the bat.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, but once they have some,
but he's a 5th villain, so yeah, it should ramp up, and you should have all these things going on, and I like that. It's just I find that I will make mistakes if I try to play at the same speed that I play against Rhino or whatever. So
yeah, at least it's fiddly, but the rules they're not different, right? Like,
right.
If you go
That's
back
what I was
to
gonna say.
the other ones,
Yeah.
I mean, Loki had the Gauntlet, which is its own rule set. Venom Goblin had the City, which is its own rule set, which are great, right? But this doesn't have that, so it can be afforded some
this
fiddly
guy's
in a sense.
Yeah, this guy's fiddly on a theme.
Yeah.
You have to remember everything that's out. You have to remember every location that requires you to count or change or modify. but it's not the same as running the gauntlet, whereas it's like I have to remember to flip this card and I activate it there and then I do this thing. Like it's just a different kind of upkeep.
Right, or other sets where you're like, I have to move who's the active villain now, or where Venom Goblin is, and did he or didn't he activate, or do I move it or not? Yeah.
Yes.
I still like it. I think it's great. I haven't really played it except for with the suggested modular sets. I haven't pulled those out and tried too many other modular sets. Do we have any thoughts on what might impact this?
Oh, I have not played it beyond the core. Beyond the default sets.
Okay.
James, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna break the rules and just pick and choose cards that should come from. I was going to throw things like Fool's Paradise into here. That obviously is not part of. It's not part of a mod set, right? That's just part of Mysterio. But just throw cards in that are fun. Throw in all those psionic ones from Mr. Sinister. Throw in some Fool's Paradises. Just push it further. See what happens. Because that's my New Year's resolution. Who cares?
Well, Fool's Paradise comes with in the Personal Nightmare modular set, so you can put.
I said I don't care. I don't care.
Well, I do, and I'm telling you, it comes with personal nightmare. So there. That's a good call. +2 hand size.
Yeah, that's a good one. I do wonder if galactic artifacts might be kind of funny in here because they require you to spend a lot of resources or divert your attention from some truly horrific side schemes. And part of me is like, oh yeah, everyone's going to have the resources to pay for those artifact costs. Yes, but not necessarily the resources they want to spend because everything costs more. There's specific things they want to play or have to play. I don't know. Jury's still out on that, but yeah, that could be frustrating.
Yeah. All right, let's rate Stryfe as our 5th villain. What do we got?
Well, Steve, you didn't give me really an opportunity to talk about Stryfe, but that's
yeah, you're
fine.
right. You're right. I didn't because you couldn't be bothered to show up last week. No, I'm just kidding.
No, fair. This scenario goes with most of the campaigns. I generally like scenario 5 the least in every one. So I think in all the boxes, the first couple, like the first one is great to test against. The second and third ones have interesting mechanics that I like a lot. And then the fourth is a super interesting challenge. And by the fifth, it's just hard and or fiddly. And this is both to me. And so this is like accounting. I just...
Oh, come on. You play Lord of the Rings. I mean...
I know. No, like, and those are the Lord of the Rings things I don't enjoy very much either. Like, I understand that that's math the game too, but I don't know. This one didn't do it for me. And I also though have never played it multiplayer, and I would like to try that. So this is one where I've just octagoned it to see what it is happening and what it is, and it was boring to do it that way. I feel bad, but it's just like, oh, I have to make sure this, that, and yeah.
Well, the good news is, Daniel, you can't give it a 0 because it's already got a 0 in this set, so you have to pick something else.
Ooh, love it. Love it.
Good.
Well, I don't... Yeah, it's just my least favorite in this box. So, I don't know. I like the box a lot, though. So maybe this is just a B- to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
James?
A+. I just like the game. I'm just going to play the game. A+.
Well, I'm going to give the game A+, James.
Just apparently not when you play this particular scenario in the game.
Yeah.
But, no, sorry. In all seriousness, yeah, it's not my absolute favorite scenario either. But, different design. I love the way that it fits that capstone to give us just different thing in it. Call it an A. Call it an A+. Just play the game. Enjoy playing it.
All right. Mike?
Yes, this gets a clone of an A+.
Oh, an A+ clone. Excellent. All right. And I'll give it a 3 cards of the same type in my hand.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, is that good or bad in this scenario?
Yeah. I don't
I feel like it's par for the course.
Could go either way.
Yeah. Well, okay. It is the end of Stryfe. That is our last villain in the box. It is well past... Oh, man, the ball is about to drop. We only have 10 seconds left before it's the new year. Mike, you better take us out of here before it's too late. Quick.
All right. Happy New Year, everyone. You can email us at criticalencounterspod@gmail.com. We are Critical Encounters on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, or Patreon by searching for Critical Encounters Podcast. And on Discord, we are Vardane, Big Foam Love, Wandering Took, and joining us once again as our special guest is Darcy.
If you like our show, tell your friends. If you don't like our show, tell your enemies. Stryfe, take us out.
Kneel before your superior.
Oh, and did someone else already point out what I clearly missed? That there are 3 of these.
No,
there's only one of those.
There's only one. Telekinetic Weave is...
That there's only one of those. It's just that when you put page breaks on,
I wrote the name. It said telekinetic wave. It said telekinetic wave times 3. You read cyanic surge. Mike, wipe his mind again. Push the button. Romeo. I'm gonna have like 8 minutes of turn signal to mute from Daniel. Like, what's he doing? How long do you have to turn for in DC? Jeepers,
Yeah,
man.
I don't know.
Holy cow.
To get into his house, you got to turn right like 6 times. I don't know.
5,
4,
3,
Three,
3,
2,
2,
1.
Beep.
Happy New Year!